Yeah.
I worked at,
It's okay, it skipped out and then it skipped in.
I was gonna say,
I don't have.
I have to watch it every
but I
now and
just
then.
was trying to keep the 9 to 5 keep from having a meeting during 9 to 5, so that if somebody was going to be interviewed for an appointment, that they could do so without taking time off from work.
And
That
do
was-
most people that get interviewed, it's usually in a meeting after work hours? That's traditionally how it's been. Or do we make an exception if we have people, like maybe the 5 people we want to interview, they're all daytime people and could come in a day? Would we?
We had our meetings at 4 o'clock. And they were 4 o'clock every other Tuesday, every third Tuesday, was
And
it?
they were also Zoom.
Yeah, and we also, no. Not in time when we went in person.
Oh, in person, yes. Yes. Yeah,
And it was never an issue.
they were the second Tuesday.
Yeah, the second Tuesday, right? It was never an issue. I can do that, but I don't wanna, you guys have to work or
Yeah,
whatever.
I generally can't do a Tuesday only because I have a standing meeting that takes place in Australia, and for me to rearrange
Oh,
that
yeah.
is a
No,
nightmare.
No
But, I
worries.
mean, I do not work on Mondays and I do not work on Wednesdays, so if we wanted to do a Monday at 4 o'clock, I don't know how that works.
Mondays,
here.
except for the fourth Monday, generally speaking, but that doesn't necessarily, that's just that fourth Monday. is the
Yeah,
only one.
and I have infrastructure on Monday, but you know what, I'm less concerned about that because
The third.
Well, what we're probably better off doing is trying to do the second. Either, well, you can't do the 4th, so we can try to get on the agenda for the next week.
Second Monday, I have 2 meetings in
Okay,
this room,
okay,
Sandy Neck and
okay.
Open Space.
How about third Monday?
Check something real quick.
How about you, Charlie?
Monday is fine with me. Did you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, Monday's fine with me.
The third is, where is that? Yeah, the third Monday is my meeting day. So I apologize for misleading you. The third Monday of each month is I'm not available,
okay.
but all the other ones I am. Yeah, so in the past, this committee met monthly,
It was every third or fourth Tuesday
and did it,
at 4 o'clock.
And how long do the meetings usually last?
It depends. Sometimes they were 20 minutes, sometimes they were an hour and a half at the most, but it depends on how many candidates we have.
Yeah. I just didn't know at the long end, how long would.
Yeah, no, I mean, they usually don't go more than an hour. Usually not more. I'd say probably 45 minutes to an hour on average.
yes, you guys pick it, for me, pick a day, and then if, as long as it's not that fourth or third Monday, then I'll make it work.
You said not the 3rd?
Not the third Monday of each
Well,
month.
that's the only one that's open.
So there you go.
Like I said,
Unless
whatever,
it's earlier in the day, because those meetings start at 6, and they can go from an hour to 3 hours.
Fridays are pretty empty.
Who turns up, but
Um,
Fridays are, that's just, obviously, nobody wants to meet on
No,
Fridays.
Fridays. people-
I hear different committees saying, well, the room's always full, and there's always big, and it's like, well, why isn't anybody meeting? on
so
Friday?
your meeting started at 6
Yes, at the fire district on that.
on the third Monday.
Yeah.
So if we were to do it here at 4, you'd be out of here by 5:30.
I could do that theoretically. That wouldn't be terrible. I'd be up with that. Are we gonna meet, do you think we'll meet twice through the summer months? That's where things get weird for me. Because I know the town council goes down to 1 meeting a month. For meeting, not summer, but for January, or July and August.
We've never met more than once a month.
If I may,
Right.
I think years ago, I mean, this is not relevant to how the appointments has been run recently. I remember one year, I think they had 4 meetings the whole year.
Right, because there's nothing in the bylaws about the frequency of the meetings for the particular.
No, but looking at this list, it looks.
We got some catching up to do.
This actually isn't bad.
And they
But-
probably have only people enough to fill a third of these, right? That
But-
currently apply.
But there are some committees that I think might, under the new leadership, get reviewed. The Jane Ashbaugh Community Service Award Committee hasn't met in years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's not even on the website.
That's why, and when I brought up to Counselor Levesque that, the, Cable TV Advisory Committee hasn't been meeting. He took it off the website, but it's still in the code. I don't think the Water Quality Committee has,
Yeah, I haven't.
Because there's action that the council has to take. You can't just erase a committee. You have
Yeah.
to vote on it
Yeah,
and you
vote
have
to
to
retract.
dissolve it.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, it's funny how when you go to look at certain places, it's in certain places, but not in others, and, you know.
Well, according to this list, we have to, CPAC is important. Housing, Hyannis Main Street waterfront is important. Infrastructure and energy. Seeing that, and of course zoning board of appeals.
Now, does this list reflect any of the positions that are going to be up for reappointment?
No,
So how many people are appearing on that list this year, I wonder?
that I can put together for the next
Sure.
appointments committee.
And has it been the policy of this committee in the past to automatically reappoint?
No,
Or is
No.
there an interview process?
Yeah.
No.
Everybody does it again.
yeah, you have to do it.
So do they submit a completed interview form again at the time they're,
What happens is that I reach out to them and I let them know that their term is about to expire. And if they have interest in renewing or being considered for renewal by the appointments committee, they need to let me know via email
right,
and or submit an updated application, resume, letter of interest. And then that gets put on a reappointment list.
right,
And then you get called back in
to do the whole thing?
for an interview. But we also call in those that may have put in an application in within the last 2 years that were waiting
With that, is it
for
preferential?
one of the positions to come up for renewal. So we sometimes interview the one that's up for renewal and then a new candidate who has shown interest, because I keep people's applications for 2 years regardless if there's an opening or not.
Right. And the people, if they, I know that you can put your preference for what committee you'd like to serve on that, on your application. Is it been the policy or has it been the activity of the count of this committee to then, if, say they don't, say there's 2 people who wanted to be on the zoning board,
Mhm.
and then we decide to keep the person who is there already, do they then say, okay, well, we'd love for you to serve on the.
Oh,
whatever
they've
committee?"
always,
Usually how it goes,
oh,
and
yeah.
everybody, now,
Absolutely.
what's the rate at which people accept those usually? Do we have a pretty good, what I'm getting at is, do people, are they interested in spreading around and doing other committees, or does it tend to be when a person comes and applies, that if they don't get on the zoning board, then they're like, forget this, I'm gonna.
No, we've never.
So generally,
experienced-
people are, they'll be, okay, I'll go on the council for aging, or I'll do the,
Yeah, and a lot of times they'll come in, sometimes they'll come in and we'll look at, the committee will look at their resume, their letter of interest, and they'll say, this committee over here best suits
Right.
what you've been going to school for the last 12 years for.
Right.
Your background is in this
Right.
committee might fit you a little bit better than the one you actually applied for.
and then is there anything in the bylaws or in the policy that regarding how many committees a person can sit on?
Time allotted of their own, no.
Right,
And the only time it would ever become an issue is if there was an attendance problem.
right.
Like you've placed somebody on 5 committees and they're only
And they
showing up
fail
for
to show
3
up.
of them.
And do we have a lot of people that do that? I know there are a few.
We've had one person in the last, say, 5 years, we've removed from a board
But and then,
For lack of attendance.
for lack of attendance and it wasn't because he was belligerent and not showing up, it was because his job changed and he could no longer could come to the meetings when they were scheduled because he started a job,
and is it fairly common for people to sit on more than one committee?
Mhm.
Just
Some
curious.
have to,
Questions,
some have to,
that's
because
question time.
the Community Preservation Committee prescribes there shall be somebody from housing.
Right, of
there
course, they
shall
all
be-
come from that, but I mean, in terms not where that's the description of the committee, but where they, people say, I am up
Mhm.
for any committees you got. I'll
Yeah.
do 3 a week.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are my questions for now.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people that do that. That serve on more than one.
And if recruitment, so if you think that if you recruit people, meaning that if, say, Chris has a friend in West Barnstable who knows about, pick your issue, and says to them, I think it'd be great for you to apply to serve on this committee. Is that you think is a conflict, or you think that?
it could be, that's why we have to ask legal, but Chris would probably have to recuse herself from the vote.
Right, because,
I put usually in my newsletter, there are vacancies,
Yeah.
there's a link to it, it's
Yeah.
in general, not,
Mhm.
That isn't, that's a conflict.
right, I mean, you'd have to have some kind of vested financial interest in the decisions that are being made by that body.
Well, it'd be like this, say that we had a restaurant committee. I go
Right.
to your restaurant every day.
Right, well,
I
yeah,
just saw her every day.
and you're
and I'm
gonna be
like,
making decisions, I
yeah,
get
you
that.
should be on this committee.
Absolutely.
You know, you should really be on this committee.
Yeah.
Then I can't sit there and vote for you to be on the committee,
I,
because I'm sure that's conflict.
of course. So does that, do you think, not with that particular example, when I'm a developer and I want to put people on the zoning board, or I want to do so on, whatever. But does that, I mean, is that an avenue that we have approached in terms of trying to find qualified candidates for these, not in the graft way of trying to get people on the committee, but outreach, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
They're in the, application, at the very bottom. There is a statement that says, please be prepared to discuss your skill sets and any possible conflicts of interest
Right.
at the time of your interview.
And so, but like, as far as outreach goes, I guess from an advertising, if you want to put it that way, perspective. What kind of outreach do we have?
It's in the Barnstable e-news.
Right.
It's all over Lynn's, whatever
When
she
she
does
sends
for
out-
social media in advertising, it's in there. It's on our webpage.
Yeah.
The vacancies, you just go to the town of Barnstable,
purposes.
town council, webpage, you click on committee vacancies, and that list will populate.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I do not put it in any kind of a newspaper, just because Lynn covers so much of that already. But if that's a suggestion from this committee, and
I'm just
you know,
curious, I'm just trying to get a picture of it. I
Well,
mean,
and that's kind of the problem now, is that everybody gets their information from so many different places.
Right,
Right,
I just didn't want to add another layer,
no, of course.
but I don't know what everybody uses these days. I personally don't have.
I'm just
TikTok or
curious
any
about,
such
like,
thing,
what would
but-
you say, I mean, in terms of vacancy, what percentage do we run on an average, I wonder, of committees and boards and.
It depends.
Regulatory.
I'm hearing that the
advisory.
Human Services Committee is having a hard time getting a quorum.
Mhm.
So it's a not that popular of a committee, or they are, how do I want to say, underperforming members. So I would like to make a suggestion that, I know we have 43 committees or
43 boards, committees and commissions with about
commissions, yeah.
anywhere from 6 to
That
8
maybe
members.
starting with when you said, some are more important than others, I
Mhm.
forgot who said
Or
that.
some are more people.
The
more
regulatory
popular.
committees have authority, like the Conservation Commission has their authority from the state. There are regulations that they apply, that the town council doesn't, approve or not. They have their own authority.
Board of Health is the
Board
same.
of Health, right. So I think those regulatory committees that will keep somebody from getting a sewer hookup or a septic system, I think we have to make sure the regulatory committees are fully populated. And I'd like to recommend that if there are alternate members, and I know I've spoken to Cindy about this before, it's not always clear to me on the town's website. If there's an alternate member who has been sitting and serving, that they should be considered to be elevated to a full member. If there's a vacancy, that we should consider that a person.
Well,
Well, why is it if they're an alternate member and there's a vacancy, why are we not interviewing them or appointing them as a full member when there's that vacancy comes open? Because then we'd have an alternate opening.
That's up to us to do.
Mhm.
That's up to us to do.
Yeah.
What previous committees did.
But I'm just.
But I
asking
think,
history,
I
yeah.
agree with you, because I think if you have an alternate, that's what they're there for.
On your next appointments committee agenda, you're gonna be tackling that very issue. That's been probably in the works for 2 years now.
Mhm.
Is that the licensing, which is a regulatory board,
Mhm.
has a vacancy as a member, but they have 2 alternates that have been serving long. One longer than the other.
Yeah,
And they both have sent emails in requesting that they be moved up to that position. So that's what you are gonna have to look at as a committee on who, out of the two alternates on the licensing board, which one's gonna go to the. Now typically that comes from, and the only reason why I say this, and it may not be the way you wanna handle it. But normally that recommendation comes from the chair, because they've worked with all of the committee members.
That's true.
They don't leave it up to you to say, okay, John Smith needs to be the next one instead of Betty. It usually came from a chair, but for whatever reason, the licensing authority sent an email saying they prefer not to do that with these two members.
I see, they don't wanna go on, play favorites, I can understand.
So they will leave it up to the appointments committee to choose between the two current alternate members on the licensing board as to who will fulfill the full time, and then that will leave one alternate and a vacancy.
So does it,
Yeah.
you said to me, well, that we can deliberate on this issue at the next meeting, play favorites, or is it because they don't think that they want them as sitting members? That's
That's a discussion you would probably
Right, well,
have
we
to
can have
have
that
with the
discussion.
chair. I personally don't have that information.
Do we ever call the chairs of the committees in when making decisions
They
like
used
that?
to, they used to ask, the chairs, do you have a committee member who's been working out well?
Because
or
it
not?
seems like that we should have a pretty active relationship with the chairs of the various committees in order to understand the
Absolutely.
dynamics of those.
Yeah,
committees.
no, absolutely.
Mhm.
And, I believe last year, we checked with chairs.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like the most logical thing, right? Because
Yeah.
they know better than,
Well, they have to work with them, so they know
Yeah.
how they work.
yeah, if you're gonna have, you don't wanna put two people in the.
Especially-
Together and have them tear each other
The
up.
last appointments committee members did that. They started to do that. They
Yeah.
started to reach out and have real communications with the chairs because you guys don't, you're not on the committee,
No.
so you don't know what their, what their diversity is or what their, just like Larry was speaking before, how he's had problems on some boards. And it's been a dynamic of personalities on the boards.
Right.
But it absolutely is a great idea to reach out and say, hey, how's your committee going?
Right.
How's it working? Is
Yeah.
everything okay?
And as far as, I know we're required to do conflict of interest training. Are members on boards and how often are they required to do
Every
it?
2 years, just like everybody else.
Okay, and they report to you when they do that and you reach out to them to remind them to do that?
Yes.
And we know if there's anybody delinquent, you know who those people are and you could let
And I
us
reach
know.
out to the chair and I say, can you, at your next meeting, can you please send the two
Yeah.
links? Or if you need me to resend them, I will send you the link so that they can complete it. Now, this year, the state has started a new program,
Mhm.
which is a lot better than it used to be. And each individual has to sign up with their email. So not only will you get a reminder from me, but you'll get one from the state when it starts to get, like, I received mine this year because I did mine in 2023. And I needed to do, 2022, and I needed to do it again this year, but the state sent me an email
Okay.
and said your certification is about to expire. And they sent me the link. So you're gonna hear it from two spots. When you do it this year, they make you sign up on the state website, once you click that link.
And if the appointments committee was to find somebody had a conflict of interest that wasn't divulged when they applied, what is the process as the appointments committee?
That's not up to us to judge.
It's the attorney general that.
That's up to legal
Mhm.
Legal.
to judge. That's not up to us to
All right,
judge.
so
We usually turn it over to legal.
we would turn that over to
Mhm.
legal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
What I would-
Or they can also, if it's also the attorney's advice, just to fill out a conflict of interest statement that has to be filed with the clerk, so that they can still hear the matter, vote on the matter, but they filed their form.
Disclosure.
Yep,
But
and that's
see-
a form.
yep,
But you have to be careful because I
Yeah.
think it's Highness Main Street waterfront,
mm-hmm,
where,
there's a lot
they-
of time,
where they want a business owner actually on the committee.
right, right. So sometimes it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
not,
so-
Well, I mean, I went
yeah.
through the boards and like, which members need to have certain people from certain.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're representing the area,
Yeah,
or
Right.
the interest,
right,
like the Board of Health needs medical people on those
Yeah.
things, not just
right.
Joe Schmo or whatever. So,
From the website, it looks like the zoning board of appeals has 3 people who are designated as alternates, and there's 1 vacancy. So I would think that that would be something we could evaluate and step up.
For the
Why-
ZBA, everybody's put on as an alternate, nobody's put on as a full-time member until you.
Why is that?
I'm sorry?
Why is that? Why do we have associate members or alternates? Why aren't these people just full-fledged members of a committee?
That's the way the code is written and the makeup of the committee. If you look at each one, it's in the E code. And it specifically tells you what the makeup of the committee has to be.
Okay,
And the associates and the alternates typically will replace a full-time member in a vote only. If that full-time member is not present, that's when the associates and alternates are able to vote on the committee. If you
okay,
have a
so,
committee of 7 and 4 are missing, but you have 3 alternates, those 3 alternates come now up, and now there's a full committee of 7 that can vote.
okay, so they can vote, okay,
When
Thank you.
when their regular member is absent, yes.
okay,
Cindy, this is what I was looking at. Not everybody says no, associate.
No, I know, we're working on that with
So there's-
access.
So there's 3 associates and 1 vacancy. So that's what I was going on.
Yeah, the ZBA, I can get the code actually.
I can look it up too.
Yeah, it's, everybody goes on first as an associate, very,
Yeah, I understand that. But if there's a vacancy, I'm saying it's time to bring one of the associates.
oh, well, again, that's a duty that the appointments committee would have to reach out to the
That's what I-
chair and
Exactly,
say,
like you just said about.
you know, there's a,
Cynthia,
yes.
can you continue with what you were just saying, that everybody goes on as an associate? Because I'm not aware of this process.
Well, with the ZBA, new members are always been placed into the associate position. I'm not saying that that's the way the code is written, but if you're learning the ZBA, and it is cumbersome.
Okay,
Most of them want to be put on, even in the interview when they come in, they say, you know, I don't know if I'm ready for a full-time member position. I need to learn. Like, I
Okay.
need to be an associate for like a year or 2, and if there's a possibility of a member position opening up, then consider me at that point. But a lot of them like to be introduced to it slowly because of the
Sure.
zoning laws and all the
I
stuff.
completely
that comes
understand
along.
that.
And they're
Yeah.
not completely comfortable being a full-time member. That's not to say that nobody would be. But at the time, when we talk to when the appointments committee does interview, and I think Jeff can back me up on this, a lot of them come in and they apply for it. They know about zoning and they know the zoning laws, but then when they read the actual E-code of what the committee does, they kind of get deer-eyed and say, okay, well, maybe I just want to be an associate for a year. Let me get my feet wet.
Okay,
And we don't
Thank you.
have too many vacancies on the ZBA that fall off as regular members. We've got some people that are long timers on there that are the regular members, and they're real good with new members that come on too.
thank you. One more question for you
Sure.
again. This is backing up a little bit, but the Water Quality Committee, the Jane Espa Community Service Award Committee, and the Elderly and Disabled Taxation Aid Committees are not listed in our website as under the committees. And what's going on with those 3?
They very seldom meet. The Jane Ashbaugh, I believe, has met, I think Chris has.
Never, not in a long time.
They haven't met in quite some time. So there's nothing to report out. So they don't, I guess they don't meet. I don't know. I'd have to, get a hold of the person that actually runs that. I don't,
See, I don't even see
the
names.
water quality is a committee that was under, I should say, advisement as probably folding it. And not having it up and running because the explanation of what it does. We have a Hyannis Water Board. We have, at the time, we had 2 other boards that were dealing with water issues, so that was like a 4th board.
Okay,
And I believe it was the DPW Commission. That was at the time running, which is no longer, the Infrastructure and Energy took that over. But there were 4 or 5 committees that were up and running at the time. And the town council or the appointments committee at that time did an overview with the town attorney on which boards were overlapping each other. And they eliminated a lot of them, and that's a vote of the council, obviously. And the cable TV advisory and the water quality is 2 of them that they would like, the appointments committee wanted to dissolve, but then held off doing it at the council level until we had heard more of an explanation of how they were going to do the CWMP and all that came,
Okay.
you know, what committees were going to be involved in that. So those 2 committees basically never got dissolved, but they were never put out there to fill again.
What, you know, Charlie, what we could probably do, and if everybody agrees, is that we can look at these different committees and just see the ones that aren't functioning, and just get rid of them.
Good idea.
Cause it's a waste of time.
Cumbersome on
Yeah,
the
and,
website too.
and especially where we're going to have different subcommittees coming up.
I think that it'll be, that the council leadership might have a subcommittee just to do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's not in the appointments function. I think there will be a committee, a task force to just clean up some of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they wanna do it, that's fine, but I'm saying, one day when we have one interview or no interview,
Sure.
then we can just go through and just tell
Make
Felicia,
some recommendations.
yeah, you know, these committees aren't even being staffed, so why don't we just get them off the chart?
Well, I mean, I
Just a-
guess the only other thing to do is to reach out to maybe some of these committees that we think maybe need to go by the wayside, and reach out to the chairs and say, what are you doing? What are you planning on doing? Because like I looked at, you know, some of the committee, like I looked at the Disability Commission, and they haven't had a meeting since last May.
Yeah.
So it's like, either you're gonna resurrect yourself, or
And I don't think it's the chair's decision.
no, but what I'm saying is, you know, part of what they have to do is, it looks like at the end of the year, they're supposed to provide an annual report to the town manager what they're doing. So either, and that's supposed to be done by the 4th Friday in January, so here we are in February, so either those are supposedly in hand or not, but on
I
the
think-
same hand, maybe we need to hear from people about, maybe they have a plan going forward, or, you know, like the
I hear
energy
you.
and infrastructure wasn't really meeting last year,
Mhm.
and I went to that meeting last week. And now they're like gonna start meeting twice a month, and it's kind of like, well, like, what are you gonna start
Well,
doing?
we could always have the town manager
Do what?
reach out to them and say, are you gonna be?
The committees?
Is this
No,
the-
he won't do it. That's council side of the house.
Well, it's
He's
because
in charge of
he's supposed to get that
Yeah,
annual
you're
report.
supposed to have the.
Oh,
If he
report.
doesn't have the annual report, he
Yeah.
can reach out, his office can reach out and say,
I see.
where's the annual report?
I think what happened also is during COVID, some things got wobbly. And especially some committees, and disability may be one of them. Either the chair didn't know how to conduct Zoom. One of these committees, I remember hearing a story, and thought he had to do it on his own. And didn't know the technology, and I think it kind of fell apart. I'm not saying that's that particular.
I think that there are some obviously defunct committees, but things like the disability, and I mean, that may not be on the top of our list for committees to.
No, they do a lot of great
Right.
things for the
There's all
town.
kinds of stuff that they do, but
Yeah,
there are plenty that are obviously that have obviously become obsolete that we could see. And, but, I mean, another way of looking at this as well, right, I mean, that though some of them may be not doing so much now, they could be better, they could be revamped, and what does it really cost us as a town to have, not to say that we should hang on to any of the ones that are obviously no good, that are just totally defunct. But, you know, it's not like we're really losing out on much if we had committees that are maybe not up to the maximum capacity in terms of their functionality. Do you see what I'm saying? To think about it from a too cut and dry perspective is not necessarily in my opinion, the right way to look at it.
Well, that's why I was thinking, we need to find out what the plan is, because again, if they're not planning on doing anything, then the question is does the town also, does the appointments committee need to be involved in trying to find somebody or not find somebody
Right.
or get the word out through
They
Lynn,
also might need
through
staff
Lynn.
support to.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
the
like, what are the
post the
stopping blocks if
agendas
they haven't
and-
met since May? I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
No,
here
I
we are.
agree, I agree.
It's
Place,
genuine.
place like Cynthia said too.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of these committees overlap. And, you know, like this water control quality committee.
Yeah.
I don't remember voting on anybody.
We have.
No.
That's why there's a lot of
Yeah.
vacancies,
Yeah,
because I don't think it exists anymore, so.
I apologize, I do have a 7:30 meeting to go to that, and work this around. If I could suggest that maybe for some of these, that might be an easy lift for us. If licensing has 2 alternates and we could elevate one to a regular member. Or if any of these alternates or associates, if there are vacancies for those committees that we can elevate them, that they're already serving and they've been experienced, maybe we could consider that for the next meeting.
yeah, because
License.
there's 2.
Two,
So-
that's what Cindy said, and ZBA has 3 associates with 1 vacancy. And elevate that. I don't know if there are any other, and those are important committees.
Those
the
in the CFAC.
Regulatory. CFAC. Well, I don't know if CFAC has any alternates. But to
CPAC isn't
elevate,
one that has alternates, is it?
I'll tell you.
It's all just regular members. But I'd like to, I mean, I'd like to know why the chair of the licensing authority doesn't want to recommend someone for a full-time slot. Just for my own.
Maybe they just
entertainment.
both qualify.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe he likes working with both
So
of
this is
them.
a Solomon situation.
Yeah,
I'm here and say, oh, well, you make the decision because I don't want to.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry to.
no, it's fine. February 18th? Is everybody good with that?
That's the 3rd Monday.
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
that's the third Monday.
I'm sorry, the 19th, that's Sunday.
Or no, the third Monday is my day that I'm busy on 6, but if we do it at 4.
4,
4,
Then I'll
that's
be
what
ready.
he was.
yeah,
Okay,
4,
o'clock.
and we'll get out of here by 5:30.
Yeah, that's cool.
All
All
right.
right, do that.
So what's the day we're going for?
The 19th,
19th at
4 o'clock.
And
4
very
o'clock,
versatile
okay.
with my schedule being so variable all the time. I can always zoom in. It's exciting.
Well, you can not only that, but
Right,
as long as we have a quorum.
right.
I have to have a quorum in the room in order for one to wander
I
in.
see.
Yeah,
So
if
three-
Charlie would be back.
3 of you have to be here in order
Right.
for 2 of you to be on Zoom.
Got it.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Or if
And no
we,
one cares that it's President's Day, do they?
It's a holiday. The town won't be open.
we're not open.
Oh,
you want to do,
How about the following?
yeah, that's.
I can do
what
the
I was
4th one, that's fine.
gonna say. All right, want to do the 4th?
The
26th?
The 4th Monday,
Wait a minute,
is that 4th Monday? I don't know how to read.
I'm not
that,
here.
Apparently,
I'm not here.
where are you gonna be?
I could tell you, but I'd have to shoot. Be sound.
Oh, that's fun.
All right, why don't we go home and figure this out?
What do we need for public notice?
48 hours.
48 hours? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, we can go home and figure it out.
Our meetings could change too. I mean, like, you know what I mean?
They can.
It could be, but
CFAC meets all of, they meet like 7 times in 2 weeks sometimes.
I know.
And we can also, you can
Yeah.
also choose to do Zoom.
right. So, I mean, like,
Not on a holiday.
it might be more.
Because some of the interviewees,
It
some
might
of
be
the,
easier if we're just like, okay, we need to get together this week. Let's get together. this
Well,
week.
I think that it's important that we fill,
Right,
you know, the zoning, the licensing, and the CPAC. Those are important. We have to get those filled. And the rest, you know, Hines Main Street.
But do you have any applications for CFAC?
We must not, because it's vacancies. If we had applications.
That's why I'm saying that ZBA and licensing have people on deck, right?
when was the last time this committee met? Was it
November,
November? So if anybody applied between November and now.
December was elections for the council, and then once the leadership was elected for the council, she had to reorganize all the let's see, we have 1, 2 for ZBA. One.
You have 2 vacancies for ZBA?
No, 2 applications.
So 2 applications, but I'm saying we have 3 alternates. That I think should be considered for the vacancy before.
Yeah,
we
sure.
get on-
Where's the
We'll reach out to them to see if they're
Yeah, because I
interested.
went to. Or that's what they're designated on on the website. If it's-
I do not have any CFAC applications.
So we can't interview anybody.
That's a
We'll-
project.
We'd have to,
But that
Make
doesn't mean I
announcements.
won't get any, it's
Yeah.
just, you know,
but we can
Um,
make an announcement at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
That instead of saying, we're looking for everybody, I would say maybe,
Yes,
we-
got it.
yeah. Sweat it down to 3 or 4 committees that we say that we're especially looking for people who would be interested in these 4, instead of, because you don't want to advertise Gene Ashbaugh.
What are people's schedule like on Wednesday, the 21st?
I'm good. Like I said, I can make it work. Just,
Yeah,
it's up
no,
to you
I know.
guys. I'll make it work.
Okay.
That sounds like school vacation.
Oh,
I won't.
school vacation. You won't be.
Mm-mm.
Gosh, darn
I'll have to
it.
get back to you.
Come on, forget about your family.
Cancel that.
Yeah.
okay, hold on, before you go, Chris, we're gonna do a roll call vote if we're
But the
adjourning
good
or
thing
not.
about.
I can just leave and still have a valid meeting.
Yes, oh, yeah, yep,
Yeah.
So I don't have to,
No.
I'm not disabling the meeting.
No,
But
no, ma'am,
but you know what might be a good idea? Is if we had some, well, flyers or applications and drop them off at your local banks.
Libraries.
Oh, but CPAC.
Mhm. Well, there's like, we'll see
Oh,
there.
I see.
And that's why one of the things I was saying about, when you say recruiting people, whatever. I mean, in my precinct, I know tons of people just because of my work and whatever, and in my other stuff that I do. I must know 10 investment bankers. who, you know,
See you, Chris.
Go ahead,
Bank
goodbye.
presidents or
Thank you.
financial
Seven
attorneys or
23
hedge
I
fund.
left.
Okay.
or-
Thank
You know what I mean? Like, all people that,
Do you-
to
do you
me,
have-
that's the most
do you have
obvious.
a-
thing.
Do you have a little board at your, what?
I do, up front, there's a thing I can definitely push.
Yeah, and that's not recruiting.
Right.
That's
That's
just
just
asking.
advertising,
because
that's
that's what-
advertising.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like, I mean, now, if I went up to my financial advisor, that's
Well,
recruiting.
yeah, there you go. It's-
But if it's somebody that I went and did a job for, and they
Right.
happen to be an investment banker, and I'd be like, hey, we have this committee going.
Right, so that's what I'm talking about.
Or
Like
if
I
you
say,
tell
somebody
10
says,
people, you're not picking any one, you're telling a broadcast
Yeah.
group of people, and then from that 10, whoever's interested.
Right.
There might be 3 of them, and then they have to apply.
Because I've always found in my public service stuff, like say with the fire district or whatever, which I've been doing for a number of years, that it always, the best way to find people to fill committees and to run for, and, you know, to do, is to just hand out my card and say, listen, if you're interested, just call, you know what I mean? You never know, you might have 10 patients or 20, or who may be into this, who come from Barnstable and don't even know that this exists. That's one of, and you too, if your customers or whoever, you know what I mean? But that's, like, oh, so many people are in the dark about how all this stuff works, and it's like, you know, we know this, that you can have 40 public meetings on a thing, and people will come to the very last one and be like,
never knew about one of
in the
them.
dark, and I never heard a thing about it. I'm like, what was 40 meetings? But
Yeah, I know
but
about
still,
that.
right? But so like, I think that's one of the things that when it comes to municipal, you know, local municipalities, like small government, is that so many people are in the dark about how it functions, not because they want to be, but it just doesn't even occur to people.
Mhm.
And, you know, we can be ambassadors for this whole process. Because now especially, you're gonna talk to a lot more, I mean, you have a lot of customers, but even being as a town council, you're gonna be talking to even more people that are gonna be out there at all these different events and organizations.
And our
or whatever.
best recruitment, believe it or not, comes from the committees themselves.
Right,
From the
and they have
members, that-
pals, they're like,
because they all have,
yeah.
you know, somebody that they know that might be interested, and then they send them over here to apply, so
Right.
that
I mean,
works
we have
out well too.
50,000 people that live in this town roughly, and we have people from all walks of life, all different stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You name the career, you name the place they lived before or whatever, and then a lot of people who grew up here and everything. And we shouldn't have any vacancies on any of these, and we can have the best people that you can imagine on all these.
Well, I can tell you where some of the angst, I should say, comes from, is like we were saying before, some of our boards have teeth, others don't.
Right,
The ones that don't feel like
yeah, what are they doing? They're just spinning their wheels.
they serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's been difficult to try to tell them, even if you don't have a regulatory role, your thoughts, your ideas,
Right,
the whole reason you met this year and put this pamphlet together was for a reason. I
Right.
mean, given a good example is our Disability Commission.
right,
You know, they did tremendous work on Main Street when they wanted to revamp and remove, and redo the sidewalks, and we had that actual,
They did.
we had somebody come in and say, did you forget about us
Yeah,
in the wheelchairs,
yeah,
with the canes, with the prosthetics, and they actually went out and on their own did the surveying and said, if you did it this way, and the town listened.
Right, well, because that's it, the advisory committees are only as good as
Right.
only as good as the town council and their response to that advice. And there you go, there's one thing that, maybe that's something that needs to be looked at.
But I can tell you,
How much advice is being taken, if you're,
Well, it also has to be, advice has to be generated.
we also,
If the group isn't generating any advice, then it's not the town council's fault, they're not.
we also had a town council president that alphabetically went through all boards, committees, and commissions and had them come in, 2 or 3 of them, to a town council meeting to report to the entire council what they were doing,
right,
whether they were advisory or regulatory. And
that doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
we had a town council president that did that.
Yeah.
And we, she had me reach out to the chairs and say, hey, August 8th, we're meeting. Can we
Right.
have your board come in and do a 5-minute presentation on what you've been working on? That's
Doesn't
also,
sound so bad to me.
that, it gives, it gives them a little bit more like, this is what we've been working on and
Skin in
somebody's
the
gonna
game,
listen to us.
Feeling like they're not just off in some corner somewhere meeting
Right.
on Zoom or at the rec center or wherever, doing their thing in the dark.
Right.
and plus, as liaisons to committees,
Mhm.
there's no way you're gonna be able to go to every committee,
No,
Oh, no,
no way.
no, there's 43 of them.
Yeah, life gets in the way sometimes.
and then also for just the public, people watch the town council meetings, not as many as should probably, but people see it, if it's there, it's more
Mm-hmm.
likely to get noticed than elsewhere. Anyway, just thoughts. I don't
Yeah.
want to keep this here too long, I think this is interesting.
Just one other quick thing is, the last appointments committee, and it was very successful, is we came up with boilerplate questions
Right, absolutely.
that we can ask each and every member, of course, we can expound on. But, so you guys think about what we should ask?
And we have the other questions that were
Yeah,
already.
sure we have.
Oh, yeah.
You gave those to us.
Mhm.
Did you get those?
I don't know. Was it in an
I'll
email?
resend them again.
My town email doesn't come ding because I have
That's
too
okay.
many emails on my email.
What I'll do is send it out fresh for everybody first thing tomorrow morning, and you'll have it at the top of your email.
And
But-
so you'd like us to just review that? and
Review it,
there's
see if
something
it's-
We want to add. or
Something you wanna
delete.
add or take away or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
If you don't think the questions are adequate enough to ask the applicant, yeah, you can expand on them or take one away or. But it kind of helps Mr. Moran's point that he brought up, what's consensus? That was one of the big questions that they always asked an applicant, and how do you get there?
Right.
That was probably the most important question.
Yeah,
Maybe I didn't get it, send it to me again.
I will. What's your view of consensus and how do you, how do you think you get there?
Right, because these boards are all about being able to work together and to be.
We gotta be able to
Get to the
listen to
end.
all
Yeah.
points,
Absolutely,
because somewhere in the middle is where it needs to meet.
right.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with different opinions, but you
Oh, heck no,
have to meet in the middle.
it'd be boring if we all had the
Everybody
same
has to
one.
give.
All right, anything you want to say, Charlie?
I just want to make sure that next meeting is to be determined.
Yeah, because the 18th, the 9th, I keep on saying the 18th, the 19th is a holiday.
Okay,
All right, so the town offices will be closed. Unless we have it at your house.
yeah, I was gonna say, why not next Monday?
So if we
Sooner the
could
better.
maybe figure out by,
Yeah, you guys bounce it off me and then
it's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do is fine with me. I'll make it work on my end.
We talked about the 21st, Wednesday, the 21st.
Wednesday, the
School
21st is just.
Oh, it's school vacation. I'm like, that's right, we had that conversation.
I can do a Friday
Well, I
anytime.
mean, if you do it on the 26th, I just won't be here, that's all.
Well, I'd like you to be here.
I know, but if you need to do the meeting, then
Well, let's see if we can, when are you going away?
I'm going away on the 25th and I'll be back on the 11th. So you might want to just carry on without me.
So we'll be back March 11th?
This was the big trip I planned before I ripped.
Maybe we'll just do it on a Friday, just this one time.
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half. I know Fridays are fun. See, for me, somebody who works 7 days.
Is that good?
Friday.
I don't know, so. I'm not going out drinking, I'm partying, I don't have a big date night planned, so.
I work, I mean, I'm, like I was telling Cindy, every day is a work day for me, so I
Yeah.
don't really, Friday, Saturday, Sunday doesn't mean anything.
How about you, Charlie, a Friday?
Friday's okay.
And maybe we need to do it in a little earlier so Cindy can go home to her life because,
No, I'm in.
What time do you get off?
Who, me?
Yeah,
4:30, 5?
so why don't we try for like 3:30,
I can do
I
that.
have no set
okay,
hours.
the
16th?
17th, oh,
the
16th,
16th?
16th.
That's before the vacation. then-
That's right before your vacation,
Yes, I pick my daughter up at 2:30, so that'd be fine.
and that's the night after council.
Great, fun, exciting.
At what time?
We'll say 3:30.
So the
The Friday,
16th,
February 16th.
Yeah, just for this one, just so we can get off, so we can get.
Sure.
maybe it's really gonna like
Sure.
that.
Now, my question is, do you want people being interviewed on the 16th or is it?
Yes.
Yes. And do you want this full list of people that are being interviewed, or do you want me to break it down in half?
I thought we just wanted to do.
I
like,
think, yeah, we should
Important
do,
one.
yeah, we should do infrastructure,
This is,
licensing and zoning.
this is all the people that have
That's all of
submitted.
it?
Oh,
You going away for vacation?
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't decided exactly where, because I like traveling, but I always am like, where do I wanna go? And I do it right at the last minute.
Oh.
Oh,
And that works with
Let's
your
maybe
wife
go
and
into-
your daughter?
yeah, well, yeah, they don't mind.
I mean, I think for that one there, saying we're gonna do it on a Friday, I don't know,
You can mark it.
see what these guys want, I think we do zoning.
We have one person that you probably might want to consider since they are having an issue with a quorum, and I don't know if it's been an issue.
What's that?
Hyannis Main Street Waterfront
Oh, yeah.
District Appeals.
Oh,
It's
Okay.
a party of 3 and they're -1, so they need a,
You mean they only have 2 people on it right now?
right,
Really?
the appeals.
oh, Amanda Congress?
Yeah,
Okay.
Allison Alessi, resigned.
Oh, then that's still on the website. if you said that. That's
I mean,
okay. I
it's
was like, I thought I saw 3 on there.
No, there, yeah. And just so that everybody here knows that the issue with the website is I work in a program that's called Access. And it holds all of my 43 boards, committees and commissions and all of the information that pertains to them.
Oh,
The program is
those, I
2007
checked 3 of them, if you think.
We
any
have
more, just
2024
go by it.
programs.
Yeah, so it doesn't correlate at
It's
all.
not talking to one another. So whenever I make an adjustment in the database, it's supposed to go over into the web page.
But it doesn't.
It's not happening, so I have to copy and paste everything I do in there, whether I change a number, a date, a middle initial, it all has to be sent to web requests, and he has to manually go in and do it. So that, and when they transferred some of the information over, some of the disinformation got copied. So I'm slowly getting through each web page of every board and committee to making sure that the members that are currently listed are actually the ones that are members. So it's just taking a little bit
Yeah.
to get it all in sync. It's not because we're misinforming people, it's just because the 2 programs don't talk.
Well, the website's kind of hard to use anyway.
It's
Just
cumbersome.
from a user perspective, like to go on it and be like, let me
Yeah.
find what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's cumbersome.
You wanna add anything to that? No.
No.
But you'll notice on there, like I was speaking, the licensing, moving that individual is on there for discussion and around April, you're going to probably try to avoid interviews, because that's when all your reappointments come up.
Mhm.
And that usually takes a full meeting to go through all of them that are up, because being new, you'll want to look at what they have on file for their resume, what their application says, and the makeup of the committee, and if there's any outside applicants that have also
Right.
shown interest, then you've got, piles of people that either want to be renewed or replaced with new members.
All right, so 216 at 3:30.
Mhm.
Sure.
That good for you, Charlie?
February 16th at 3:30 is fine.
All right, and I think we're gonna only have like 3 applicants, so it shouldn't
Okay,
cover the most.
all right. That's great with me.
Beautiful.
All right, anything else?
Not for me.
All right, we'll close the meeting.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote. Counselors Bloom,
Yes.
Turkelson,
yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
and not the least but not last, Counselor Burdick.
Yes. Yes.
You are adjourned at 7:37 PM.